This 27-year-old teacher essayed her 13-year-old student and almost got away with it because the public thought that she was too pretty to be a PDF file. Pamela Rogers was raised in small town Tennessee and by all accounts had a happy, normal childhood. Growing up, Pamela was very popular. She was a star player on the girls' basketball team. She was obviously very beautiful and was even voted prom queen. After high school, Pamela started a career in modeling. She did a lot of swimsuit ads and was actually quite successful.
That's right, WCWs. They scoured the beaches for 3 days to find her. Tennessee Tech, studying it.
In 2003, at 26 years old, Pamela's life was changing. She got married to a man named Chris Turner, and she decided to have a career change. She got into teaching. Pamela got a job working at an elementary school, but it was a school that taught grades kindergarten to 8th grade, so it was like an elementary middle school. Right away, Pamela became very popular at school. The other teachers liked her, the parents liked her. Pamela even became really close friends with a lot of her students' parents, but it was the students that really liked Pamela. Kids often really like younger teachers because they feel like they can relate to them more, but this was a lot different. Amongst the boys that were like in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they all started referring to Pamela as the hot new teacher. These students even Googled Pamela and they saw her old bikini modeling photos and videos and started sending them to each other. These boys are only like 12, 13, 14 years old, but they would often like flirt with her or like compliment Pamela a lot at school. And I need to make something very clear. It's perfectly normal for a child to have a crush on their teacher. What is not normal and very wrong is when a teacher reciprocates those feelings. Pamela really loved the attention. She would not try to shut down the inappropriate behavior or the flirting. She would actually encourage it. About 1 year into Pamela's marriage and about 1 year into her teaching career, Pamela's marriage to her husband Chris was on the rocks. They were not getting along. They were fighting all the time. There was a lot of jealousy issues. They were no longer being intimate. And that's important because it would later come out that Pamela is addicted to like hooking up. She's an S addict. So when Pamela was no longer getting it from her husband, she started looking for it in other places. And unfortunately, that meant the elementary school where she worked. She would flirt back with these preteen boys. She started showing up to school wearing more and more revealing clothing, like really low cut tops and really short skirts. And there was one boy that Pamela got really close with, and this boy was only 13 years old. This boy's identity has not been made public, so we're gonna call him James for this video, okay? James is 13 years old, and he's in the 8th grade. Pamela is a teacher. She's married and 27 years old. By November of 2004, Pamela's husband filed for a divorce and she moved out of their home, and you will never guess where Pamela moved into. Do you remember how I said that Pamela became friends with a lot of her students' parents? Well, Pamela became best friends with James's mom. So while Pamela was going through her divorce, Pamela moved in to James's house. James's mom has no idea that her best friend that she just invited into her home is a PDF file that's being extremely inappropriate with her son. And even after Pamela moves into her own apartment, she's still chatting with James all the time online. She's sending James photos and videos of herself without clothes on. She also invites James over to her new apartment where she essays him for the first time. And remember, this is a 13-year-old boy. He's not even in high school yet. And a 27-year-old teacher. This happens multiple times in multiple different locations. Pamela essays the 13-year-old James in her apartment, in her car, even at school. She essays him in classrooms, in the locker room, even in the school gym. Pamela becomes obsessed with her victim. She becomes obsessed with James. James has a girlfriend. She's like another 13-year-old girl, and Pamela makes James break up with this 13-year-old girl because Pamela tells James that they're together, that they are in a relationship. Anytime James goes anywhere, Pamela would just show up there. She's calling this 13-year-old boy over and over and over again, multiple times throughout the day. Pamela would also make a bunch of different excuses so she could sleep over at James's house. Like she would tell James's mom, her best friend, that the power was out at her apartment so she could stay over. And then in the middle of the night, she would sneak into her best friend's 13-year-old son's room and SA him in his own room, in his own home, right across the hall from his sleeping mother. Then in February of 2005, there was an anonymous tip that Pamela Rogers, a teacher at the elementary school, was SAing one of the 13-year-old students. Pamela was arrested on February 4th, 2005 on 28 different charges. 15 counts of SA battery by an authority figure, and 13 charges of statutory SA. And this was a big deal. If she was found guilty on all of these charges, she could be facing 100 years in prison. But this was the early 2000s, and back then, even today, but especially back then, a lot of people did not see boys or men as victims, and they definitely did not see women as PDF files. And this case made huge news across the entire country. Pamela had a lot of supporters that said that she did nothing wrong, and a lot of people said that James was lucky to be abused and be a victim of SA. While Pamela is being sent fan mail and roses by admirers across the entire country, James was so traumatized he had to be taken out of school. His mother was so betrayed that she felt like she could never trust another stranger ever again. Ultimately, Pamela took a plea deal where 24 of her charges would be dropped if she pled no contest to only 4 charges. She was sentenced to only 9 months in prison with an additional 7 years of probation. In addition, she would also need to surrender her teacher's license, and she would also be a registered SA offender for the rest of her life. But Pamela only spent 6 months in prison before being released on good behavior, and she made it very clear that she did not learn her lesson because within days of being let out of prison, Pamela began contacting James again. She sent a bunch of photos and videos of her without her clothes on. Some of those videos were leaked online somehow. She was also begging this 13-year-old boy to get back together with her or wait for her. She sent him messages saying how much she missed him. She sent him messages asking if he still loved her and if he was still waiting for her. She was caught violating her probation, and even though she was only sentenced to 9 months and then only had to serve 6 months, because she violated her probation, she went to jail for 9 years. But since she has been let out, so she is out currently today. I need to make this so clear because I already know the comments are probably gonna really anger me. Pamela is a very dangerous PDF file. She was young, she was pretty, she was successful. Pamela's the kind of woman that could have walked into any bar and could have gotten any man she wanted, but Pamela wanted a child. Gender does not matter, because if I was telling you about this case and it was a 27-year-old male teacher and a 13-year-old female student, you would be disgusted. So you should be disgusted no matter what. This case should disgust you. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments, and I will be replying to as many as I can. While you're in the comments, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. Thank you to everyone that suggested we covered this case, and I will see you guys all next time in my next video. Please be a good person to your fellow person.